This video is on the country Guatemala and its culture. This video will discuss the government, history, religion, art, cuisine, education, climate, and an interview with somebody from Guatemala. The history of Guatemala is in 1996, the Civil War ended and removed obstacles for foreign investments. July 1st, 2006, CAFTA entered force between the U.S. and Guatemala. Because of this force, it allowed imports and exports to increase. Religion in Guatemala is 47% Catholic, 38% Protestant, and 11% non-religious. The country's government is a constitutional democratic republic. Their current president is Jimmy Morales as of January 2016 and has a modest military that consists of 15 to 20,000 people. The art in Guatemala follows old pre-Columbian traditions. Miguel Angel Asturias won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1967. Music is inspired by history's present-day issues and struggles of common people. This style of music is called Nova Canción. The marimba is the national instrument. Education is very low in Guatemala. 74.5% of the country's population over the age of 15 is illiterate. School is free, but because of the cost of uniforms, transportation, books, and supplies, it makes it less accessible to everybody. Guatemalan food is based off of the Mayans. Most dishes feature maize, different chilies, rice, and black beans. They are known for their antojitos, chuchitos, and tostadas. Guatemala has the highest malnutrition rate in the world. Guatemala has temperatures between 70 to 80 degrees. They have a dense rainforest and contain some of the most productive soils. There are many traditions celebrated in Guatemala. The most important ones are Easter, the Holy Week, the burning of the devil, Christmas, and New Year's. Holy Week is celebrated through the faith manifestations in the streets where they do processions of where people carry a platform and a statue of Jesus Christ holding the cross. People walk around saying the rosary, and these types of parades are planned by the nuns from the church. The last day of the Holy Week is Easter. Easter is celebrated and everyone goes to church first thing in the morning. Traditional Easter dishes are fish, enchiladas, pan dulce, and tortas. They also play cards, dominoes, and dices. December 7th is the celebration of the burning of the devil. The people of Guatemala make small flammable dolls that look like the devil, and while burning them, it means that they're letting go of all the bad things that have happened in the new year. Once all the dolls are burned, they set off fireworks to welcome in the new year. To celebrate Christmas, everybody goes to Mass on Christmas Eve. Traditional Christmas foods are tamales, punch, patches, chuchitos, and roasted chicken or turkey. As part of the interview, I asked my friend Yancy if any of her family members had worked in agriculture in Guatemala. Both her paternal and maternal grandfathers are involved in agriculture. Her paternal grandfather is a farmer and has his own land to grow tomatoes where he plants, takes care of them, and sells them himself. Her maternal grandfather is an agronomist and owns half of land of cultivations. They cultivate cocoa, coffee beans, rubber, coconut, bananas, and plantains. I also asked Yancy how the working conditions in her home country were. She said they were horrible, especially for the indigenous people who work on farms have it the worst. They work from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. and get paid 13 cents in American dollars, and there's also no laws to protect these people. Another question I asked Yancy is if she worked as a child. She said she didn't, and her job was to go to school and succeed while her parents worked. I also asked her if she still had family in her home country, and she said most of her family is still there, and all of her uncles work as carpenters and lawyers. I also asked her how poverty was in her country. She said poverty is very high. Even people with well-represented jobs, like attorneys, get laid off because the economy is so bad. That is also why the crime rate is incredibly high, because all these people are in gangs so they can support their families. I also asked Yancy how she got to the U.S. She got to the U.S. on May 26th in 2006 when she was 6 years old. She crossed the border illegally and it took her about 2 weeks to get here. The reason why she crossed illegally is because her parents were here in the U.S. already while she was still in Guatemala living with her grandparents. She lived in Mexico during those 2 weeks and lived in different houses with different families. The last family she lived with, she had to act like their daughter, and she had a day to learn her name, age, and parents' name in English. Once she crossed the border, a van picked her up in Texas and drove her to New Jersey where her parents were. She says crossing the border is scary now because you can't trust people. A lot of people are in gangs, could kidnap you, or even kill you. Kids can also be sold into trafficking. I also asked Yancy about the education. She said there's public and private schools. Public schools usually have a bad reputation because there's a lot of dropouts, people are involved in gangs, and girls most likely end up pregnant. I also asked her about her favorite food, which is tamales, because she only gets to eat them on special occasions. I also asked her about the transition. She says the transition was easy because she went to a private school where she was taught English. By the end of first grade, she was pretty fluent in English and was put in bilingual classes. She then made friends quickly, and by third grade, she was in all English classes completely fluent. While knowing Yancy, while in high school, she was involved in a lot. She was our class vice president, leader of Key Club and International Club, and even played field hockey for a few seasons.